Arnold Schwarzenegger grew up in a small Austrian village after World War II. Life was tough. His father, Gustav, was the local police chief, strict and shaped by war trauma. Gustav survived being buried alive in rubble during the war but returned home changed, taking his pain out on his family. Arnold and his older brother Meinhard were forced to compete for attention, even over simple things like picking flowers for their mother. If Gustav drank, things got worse. Screaming and physical punishment were common. Arnold didn't want to stay in that kind of life. Even as a child, he was determined to escape. At 4 years old, he was already doing 200 sit-ups and push-ups each morning just to earn breakfast. After that came school, football practice, and strict rules. Mistakes in homework meant rewriting the entire thing. Gustav believed pressure built strong men. Arnold used that pressure as motivation, but his brother Meinhard couldn't handle it the same way. He became quiet, turned to alcohol, and tragically died in a car accident at 24. Arnold, who had moved to America, didn't attend the funeral, later saying, "The same thing that made me who I am destroyed him." Their father died a year later. Arnold carried emotional wounds from his childhood but refused to let them control him. At 14, everything changed when a football coach took Arnold to a gym. He became fascinated with bodybuilding. By 15, he trained 6 days a week, read every magazine, watched every movie about bodybuilders, and at 18, he won Junior Mr. Europe. At 20, he became the youngest person ever to win Mr. Universe. Bodybuilding wasn't just a hobby for him, it was his way out. Arnold's past was complicated. His father had joined the Nazi Party in 1938 and was part of the SA. Gustav fought in brutal battles during the war. Years later, Arnold asked researchers to look into his father's background. They found no war crimes, but his Nazi involvement was confirmed. Arnold didn't hide it. Instead, he used his voice to speak out against hate and violence, trying to ensure the past didn't repeat itself. At 19, after serving in the Austrian army, Arnold moved to Munich with a suitcase and a dream. He lived in a small apartment with other bodybuilders, sleeping in storage rooms sometimes, but he didn't mind. He was focused. He worked in a gym and trained hard, 6 to 7 hours a day, 7 days a week. His discipline was extreme. He didn't drink, smoke, or party. Even his diet and sleep were managed with precision. He targeted weak spots in his body, doing up to 60 sets on certain muscle groups in a single session. In 1967, Arnold finally won Mr. Universe in London, beating the American favorite, Dennis Tinerino. The victory got the world's attention. He posed shirtless in the snow afterward, anything to be noticed. From there, he became a bodybuilding legend, winning Mr. Universe 5 times and Mr. Olympia 7 times. His training style was intense, often criticized, but effective. He trained twice a day and believed in shocking muscles with high volume. Arnold also admitted to using steroids like Dianabol and testosterone, saying it was under a doctor's supervision and common at the time. In 1968, he arrived in America with just $20, little English, and a big dream. Joe Weider, a powerful figure in bodybuilding, gave him a place to stay and paid him to train. Arnold never forgot that kindness. By 23, he became the youngest Mr. Olympia winner. He dominated the competition for years, using not only strength but strategy, getting inside his rivals' heads and using mental games to throw them off. Arnold treated bodybuilding like an art. His focus on every small detail, like the angle of his wrist during curls, showed how seriously he took it. In 1977, the documentary Pumping Iron made him famous outside of the bodybuilding world. It wasn't entirely real, some scenes were staged, but it made Arnold a household name. Breaking into Hollywood wasn't easy. People mocked his accent, name, and size. His first movie, Hercules in New York, flopped. But in 1976, his role in Stay Hungry earned him a Golden Globe, and things started to change. In 1982, he starred in Conan the Barbarian, which became a huge hit. 2 years later, The Terminator changed his life. The line, "I'll be back," became legendary. From 1985 to 1991, he became the face of action films. Commando, Predator, The Running Man, and others were all box office successes. Then, in 1988, he tried comedy with Twins and surprised everyone again. It was a massive hit. He proved he could do more than just action. Total Recall and Terminator 2 followed, with the latter earning over $500 million. By then, Arnold was the highest-paid actor in the world. In 1996, Arnold's life looked perfect. He was a global superstar, married to Maria Shriver, a member of the famous Kennedy family, and had 4 children. But behind the scenes, a scandal was brewing. That same year, while Maria was pregnant with their 4th child, Arnold began an affair with their housekeeper, Mildred Barrena. She gave birth to his son, Joseph, just 5 days after Maria gave birth to Christopher. Both women were pregnant at the same time and lived under the same roof. Joseph grew up visiting the Schwarzenegger home. As he got older, he began to resemble Arnold, but no one said anything. For 14 years, it remained a secret until it came out during a therapy session. The revelation shocked the public and devastated the family. Joseph became estranged from his half-siblings, and Mildred had to leave their home to escape the chaos. Then came more trouble. In 2003, as Arnold ran for governor of California, 15 women came forward with accusations of groping and inappropriate behavior. Some said he forcibly touched them or made crude comments. The media called it Gropegate. Arnold denied the claims but later admitted it was wrong. During the campaign, he also made offensive comments about women, saying things that upset women's rights groups and activists. Despite all of this, Arnold won the election with nearly 49% of the vote. He even gained support from many women and Hispanic voters. The election was surreal, with campaign events named after his movies. Once in office, Arnold stayed bold and unapologetic. In 2004, he called Democrats girly men, which some saw as sexist and homophobic. His spokesperson said there would be no apology. Arnold Schwarzenegger's life has been full of contradictions, from a strict, painful childhood in Austria to worldwide fame and power, from bodybuilding champion to Hollywood icon, and from scandal to political office. Through success, failure, and controversy, he has always moved forward, chasing his goals with relentless energy and drive. Arnold Schwarzenegger was known for using his image as a powerful political tool. He often leaned on his tough guy persona, but then something unexpected happened. In 2007, despite being a Republican, he started supporting progressive ideas. One major move was his proposal for a $12 billion universal healthcare plan. It aimed to cover all 6.5 million uninsured people in California, including undocumented immigrants. The plan required everyone to help. Individuals had to buy insurance, employers had to contribute, insurance companies had to offer fair plans, and people would get rewards for staying healthy. Conservatives were angry, and even liberals were shocked. He also became serious about climate change. In 2006, he supported the Global Warming Solutions Act, which made California a leader in cutting pollution. Environmentalists praised him, but many in his own political party criticized him. He became unpredictable, a Republican who pushed for liberal policies. However, his big promises came with big costs. When he took office, California had $34 billion in debt. By the time he left, that debt had grown to $91 billion. One early decision he made was to cut the vehicle license fee, which caused the state to lose a lot of money. Then he borrowed $15 billion through deficit bonds and another $37 billion for infrastructure. When the 2008 financial crisis hit, everything got worse. The state lost tax money, jobs disappeared, and the budget collapsed. Even with cuts and employee furloughs, Arnold couldn't fix it. By the end of his term, each Californian owed more than $2,300 in state debt, more than double from when he started. Over 7% of the state budget went to just paying interest. Services like education, healthcare, and welfare suffered badly. Arnold had promised to terminate California's money problems, but things got worse. By 2010, His approval rating dropped to 23%, lower than the unpopular governor he had replaced. People from both sides felt let down, and the state legislature was also deeply disliked. His time in office ended with disappointment, and people had moved on. Then, on January 4, 2011, just a day after leaving office, Arnold and his wife Maria Shriver went to a counseling session. But it wasn't just about fixing their relationship. The therapist turned to Arnold and asked a direct question. Maria wants to know, did you father a child with the housekeeper Mildred? Arnold froze, then finally admitted it was true. The child, Joseph Barrena, had been born in 1997, just 5 days after Maria gave birth to their youngest son, Christopher. For years, Arnold had tried to believe that Mildred's husband was the father. But as Joseph grew, he looked more and more like Arnold. Maria had suspected the truth for a long time and had even confronted Mildred before. That counseling session finally brought the truth out. It ended their 25-year marriage and destroyed the public image of a perfect family. Arnold later said it felt like his heart stopped when he confessed. Maria didn't cry or yell, but the damage was immediate. The affair had happened in 1996, while Maria and the kids were away and Arnold was filming Batman and Robin. She soon left and filed for divorce. Arnold admitted that he had caused deep pain to Maria, their children, Joseph, and Mildred. He called it not just a failure in marriage, but a failure in life. Joseph was only 13 when the media revealed the story. He found out not from his father, but from the news. Cameras surrounded his house, and his mother pulled him out of school. They fled to Texas to escape the attention. Joseph later said everything changed overnight. His body, his mind, and now his life. Though Arnold and Joseph eventually built a close relationship through fitness and training, those early days were deeply traumatic. Maria, meanwhile, was going through more than just heartbreak. She had lost both of her parents between 2009 and 2011, and now her marriage was over. She said it felt like she had lost her entire identity. In July 2011, she officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. But it took 10 years to finalize, with the divorce only completed in 2021. During those years, Maria tried to heal. She turned to therapy, meditation, and even spiritual practices. The end of her marriage was not just a private matter, it was a public scandal. She came from the Kennedy family, and the fall was dramatic. Arnold tried to return to acting. He had a small role in The Expendables in 2010, which fans loved. In the sequel, his role was bigger, and he seemed ready for a comeback. But by the time Expendables 3 came out, he wasn't happy. He felt his character was poorly written and dropped out of the next film. Audiences weren't as excited anymore. Arnold was in his 60s, and while people respected him, his time as a top action star was clearly behind him. He then returned to his most famous role in Terminator Genisys in 2015. The budget was huge, about $155 million, and the goal was to revive the franchise and Arnold's movie career. But the movie flopped in the US, making just $28.7 million in 5 days. Even with better numbers overseas, it was one of the weakest in the series. His famous line, "old but not obsolete," wasn't enough to save it. Studios hoped China would save the film, but interest in the West was gone. Meanwhile, old accusations resurfaced. In 2003, just before his political run, the Los Angeles Times reported that several women accused Arnold of groping and inappropriate behavior. He denied it then. But in the 2023 Netflix docuseries Arnold, he admitted it was true. He said, "Forget all the excuses, it was wrong." Over 15 women had come forward with similar stories over the years. His confession was a major reckoning. He also admitted publicly that Joseph was his son, fully taking responsibility for things he once hid. Then in 2022, Arnold made headlines again, not for politics or movies, but for a car accident. He was driving a black SUV in Los Angeles when he collided with a red Prius. His vehicle rolled over the Prius and hit 2 other cars. Arnold was unharmed, but Cheryl Augustine, the woman in the Prius, suffered serious head injuries. Her lawyer said she was now permanently disabled. She sued Arnold, claiming he was driving recklessly and refusing to accept responsibility. Although the police found no drugs or alcohol, the crash showed how one moment can change someone else's life forever. Even celebrities face consequences. Despite all the drama, Arnold has worked hard to stay involved with all 5 of his children, including Joseph. His relationship with Joseph has grown strong. They bond over fitness and share a love for bodybuilding. He also continues to celebrate the lives of his other children, Catherine, Christina, Patrick, and Christopher, publicly and proudly. Joseph has built his own life. He's acted in small films, appeared on Dancing with the Stars in 2022, landed on the cover of Men's Health, and now works in real estate. He even completed a triathlon. He shares a striking resemblance to Arnold and has his athletic drive, but he's determined to succeed on his own terms. Still, one thing hasn't healed: the distance between Joseph and his half-siblings. Even though they share a father and were born just 5 days apart, they have no real relationship. Joseph wasn't invited to Catherine's wedding. He interacts with them online, but they rarely respond. That silence sends a strong message. To them, he remains a reminder of betrayal. For Joseph, the rejection still hurts. He and his mother had to leave their home and start over because of a secret they never asked to carry. Even though Arnold wants all his children to be united, emotional wounds remain. Arnold has called the affair and the fallout his greatest regret. He says it hurt everyone involved and that he can't blame anyone else. He caused it. He's apologized to Maria, the kids, and the women who came forward about his past behavior. He's tried to improve, but the damage has already been done. Arnold says he never wants Joseph to feel like he was unwanted because of his mistake. And that may be the most honest thing he's ever said. His body, movies, and fame made him larger than life, but it was his failures that showed the world who he really was.